Imagine you are so deeply in love with someone, but the only way to prevent them from dying is to never meet in the first place. This is the heartbreaking dilemma surrounding the supernatural romance film, To Me, the One Who Loved You, one half of an emotionally devastating duology. After spending hours pondering on this romance anime, I genuinely believe that it's a niche, underrated masterpiece that deserves far more attention than it gets. Just to recap, To Me, the One Who Loved You follows Koyomi Takasaki and Shiori Sato, two children who meet through their parents' work involving parallel world research. What begins as a simple friendship slowly develops into love, but their future is complicated when Koyomi's father and Shiori's mother fall in love and decide to remarry. Determined to stay together, Koyomi and Shiori plan to run away. Before they can, a tragedy strikes, leaving Shiori trapped between realities and changing the course of Koyomi's life forever. From that point on, the film follows Koyomi across decades as he dedicates himself to understanding parallel worlds and searching for a way to save the person he never forgot. Along the way, the story explores love, loss, sacrifice, and the painful question of whether saving someone sometimes means letting them go. The film is paired with To Every You I've Loved Before, which provides another perspective on the story and helps complete the larger picture. But while both movies work together as a duology, the emotional journey that stayed with me most came from To Me, the One Who Loved You. After finishing both movies, I honestly didn't know how I felt. Not because the ending was bad or confusing, but because these films left me with so many emotions at once. I was happy, sad, frustrated, satisfied, and somehow still wanting more. More than anything, I wanted Shiori and Koyomi to end up together. The films spend so much time showing what could have been. Childhood promises, future plans, and a relationship that felt genuine and natural. The more time I spent with them, the more invested I became in the future they imagined for themselves. That's why the ending hit me so hard. The more I thought about it, the more I realized this wasn't really a story about whether two people stay together forever. It was about what happens when life takes away the future you wanted most. Koyomi spends decades trying to save Shiori, only to discover that the only way to truly save her is to create a world where they never meet. Part of me still wishes there was a timeline where they got the life they dreamed of, but the more I sat with the ending, the more I understood what the movie was trying to say. Their relationship mattered not because it lasted forever, but because it changed the course of Koyomi's entire life. Even after decades passed and realities branched apart, the promise they made never truly disappeared. What stayed with me most was the scale of the story. Most romance anime focus on a few months or years. This one follows its characters through childhood, adulthood, old age, regret, loss, and acceptance. Watching Koyomi carry the memory of Shiori throughout his life gave the story a weight I wasn't expecting. The companion film, To Every You I've Loved Before, adds important context and closure to the larger story. While I appreciated everything it contributed, I found myself far more emotionally attached to the journey presented in To Me, the One Who Loved You. The blue movie helped me understand the ending. The red movie made me feel it. Beyond the story itself, I think the filmmaking deserves far more credit than it gets. The animation isn't always on the level of films like Your Name or Weathering With You, but it develops a visual style and atmosphere that fit the story surprisingly well. The soundtrack quietly elevates both the hopeful and heartbreaking moments, while the voice acting makes every major character feel believable and human. Together, these elements reinforce the emotional weight of the story and make its biggest moments land much harder than I expected. Even now, I still find myself thinking about Koyomi, Shiori, the crossroads, and the future they never got to have. Not because I completely understand every detail of its parallel world mechanics, but because I genuinely appreciate what these movies were trying to say. For me, that's what makes this duology such a hidden gem. Confusing at times, heartbreaking until the very end, but ultimately one of the most thoughtful and emotionally rewarding anime experiences I've had. And if you're willing to spend a little time unraveling its story, you may find yourself thinking about it long after it's over too.